Welcome to the deep dive. So you've sent in some really interesting material about making that switch,
Right.
going from translating in your head to actually thinking in English.
Right. It's a big hurdle for a lot of language learners.
Definitely. And today we're going to dig into that, figure out why it's important, and pull out some practical techniques from these sources to help you make that shift, get you speaking more smoothly.
Exactly. Because that translation habit, while it maybe helps you get started, it can really, really slow you down later on. It becomes a crutch.
It totally does. It's like this extra mental step for everything. You hear something, translate it, think of your answer in your first language, then translate that back into English. Uh, it's just inefficient.
And it's where those common errors creep in, right?
Yeah.
Like the classic, I am agree.
Yeah. Because maybe the grammar works like that in your language, but in English it just sounds off.
hmm Languages just structure things differently. Word order, grammar rules, they rarely line up perfectly. So direct translation often ends up sounding a bit strange or just plain wrong.
But the good news, and this is what the sources highlight, is that you can actually train your brain to skip that step, to think directly in English.
And that's the key to unlocking faster, more natural sounding speech. It just flows better.
So how do we actually start doing that? What are the concrete strategies?
Well, the basic idea running through all the material is about forging direct connections, linking concepts or objects directly to the English words without your native language acting as a middleman.
Okay, building new mental habits. And one technique mentioned is starting really simple, like consciously using basic English sentences for everyday thoughts.
Exactly. So instead of thinking about brushing your teeth in your first language, you actively think, I'm brushing my teeth, or it's cold today. Simple things.
Seems almost too simple, but why does that work?
Repetition, really. Doing it consistently starts to make English the default for those routine internal monologues. It builds the pathway.
Got it. Another idea was labeling your world.
Yeah, I like that one. Physically putting labels on things in your house. Fridge, mirror, door, light switch.
So you see the object, you see the English word. It reinforces that direct link.
You see it, maybe say it aloud or just think it. It makes your own environment part of the learning process.
Kind of like a mini immersion zone at home. Okay, and building on that, what about these mental flashcards? It's not like studying lists, right?
No, not exactly. It's more about quick recall. So you might think of a word in your native language, say spoon, and immediately try to picture it and say spoon in English in your head.
Hmm.
Or the other way around.
Like you see a spoon and you think, this is a spoon, I use it to eat soup, something like that.
Precisely. The key is the speed. Making that connection fast without pausing to translate, that's what builds fluency.
Right, making it automatic.
Yeah. And another one, which maybe feels a bit weird at first, is just talking to yourself in English.
Huh, yeah, I can see people feeling awkward about that. But the sources seem to suggest it's actually really effective.
Oh, absolutely. Narrate your day, describe what you're doing, plan out loud. Okay, now I need to go to the shop. I need milk and bread, stuff like that.
And the benefit there is low stakes. No one's listening.
Exactly. It's a completely safe space to practice. You can try out sentences, use vocabulary, make mistakes, and it doesn't matter. It builds comfort and just gets you used to forming thoughts in English.
Okay, so pulling it all together, the main takeaway is you have to consciously break that translation habit.
That's the core message. Actively choose to think and describe things directly in English, even starting with really simple stuff.
Make that your goal from now on.
Yeah, it definitely takes consistent practice, and patience, but doing that work leads to much more natural, confident English speaking down the line.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Which one of those simple English sentences could you start thinking right now as you finish listening or go about the rest of your day? That first small step is key.
It's all part of the journey.
Absolutely. Thanks for digging into this with us on The Deep Dive.